Representative Dixon, I have a record album at home that contains the lyric, "I'll have one more for my one for my baby and one more for the road." Now that's Frank Sinatra. If I wanted to buy that album in Missouri under your law, I'd have to go into a store. It would be wrapped in plastic and it would be wrapped in opaque paper, and it clearly advocates drunken driving. And it would have a label on it talking about bestiality and all sorts of things that has nothing to do with. Isn't your attempt to define what you don't like inherently ridiculous? It would wipe out half the records on my shelf, which are pretty harmless, I assure you.
Absolutely not. We're talking about,
well, tell me, would it or would not your law apply to that song?
It depends on the cover, because the opaque wrappping only determines, the cover only determines whether that is wrapped in opaque
would it need the label? Would it need the label? No, just in a second. Would it require a label? Would it require your label about bestiality and all that because it talks about drunk driving?
If it requires it, then that's...
If it promotes
alcohol,
I've got you under my skin.
Let's talk about what I'm talking about here. Let me just repeat these lyrics to you. Just lay there and relax, and as you reach your climax, I'll be reaching for my axe. With 5 easy slices, you're in 6 lovely pieces. Bodily dismemberment as passion increases.
How many copies?
He goes on to say, my passion running high, last I will decapitate your pretty little head. A masterpiece of blood and flesh lies twitching on my bed. It's revolting.
That's a revolting song.
Let me tell you something. If anybody came into my home, I am a mother of 5 children. If anyone came into my home and started telling my children, hey, commit suicide, it's glorious, do drugs, do alcohol, what do you think I'd do to them? I'd kick them out of my house. And that's what we ought to do. We ought to do that with this filthy, vile stuff that our kids are listening to, promoted by the record industry. But all we're asking for is truthfulness in advertising.
Mojo,
just tell us what's in it.
Mojo, your turn.
Two points. One, I say kick them out of your house. I would kick them out of my house. I have a son also. I play some crazy songs. I explain to him why they're funny, why they're crazy. I explain to him that because my mother was so uptight, you know, I'm still rebelling against sexual things. But the other big point is, who's going to decide? We're agreed that last song is crazy, but who's going to decide who gets the sticker? Who's going to make that decision? You know, are songs like Mac the Knife or Tom Dooley or is an album
Mojo.
of Romeo and... Are they going to get stickers
in my bill, Mojo, the burden lies on the producer, the manufacturers of this material. That's where it lies. They volunteered to do this before.
How can you? So what do? You're going to publish an album that says, "I'm hexed again, vexed again. Thank God I can be oversexed again." Cole Porter.
Let's get back to what we're talking about. We are talking about the 1%. We're talking about death music.
Here's the problem, Mrs. Dixon.
We're talking about death music.
Here is the problem. You have these horrible lyrics that you don't like. You put out a law that's going to apply to a lot of lyrics. That's the problem with all forms of censorship. You can always come up with a horrible example, but once you start censoring, you're going to censor a lot of things that are harmless.
Let me tell you, number one, you're talking about someone else's bill. This is not censorship. We are asking for a warning label, a label to be placed for more. No, wait, let me finish.
Require this warning
what we're
label.
Talking about is more information for parents so they can make a well-informed decision. Are you asking for mandated parental ignorance here? Is that what you're asking for?
Mojo, go ahead.
How are the parents going to make a decision when if you just have reference to one thing, if you have reference to teenage sexuality and it says on there bestiality? I mean, that doesn't make any sense. Who's going to decide what records get labels, who doesn't get labels? Do old records get labels?
I already answered that question.
You know, I think you as a parent need to sit down and see what your kids are doing. And as a parent and as an American, you need to let other parents make their decisions.
You're absolutely right.
As an American,
that's exactly why, Mojo. You are absolutely right. And let me tell you, that's exactly why we're asking for information for parents to make
sit down and listen to the record. How long is it going to take to listen to the record? As Michael already said.
I can't understand. You seem to be arguing for less information, for not knowing, for ignorance. All they're asking is,
arguing for the parents to use
what's in the package before the kid consumes it.
As me and Michael just pointed out, there's no way to do that. There's no way to put a stick. Almost every record will have a sticker on it saying, this contains something that will offend somebody. That's what this country is all about.
Joe, you said that would just help sales.
If it's only on a few records, as it is right now. In the future, if it's on every record, that's balanced out. As you know, there's no way, you know, is Elvis sexual?
Thank you very kindly, Mojo Nixon. It's been good having you aboard.
I'm coming back sometime.
Representative Dixon, thanks for joining us. Michael and I will be back with final words in a moment on Cole Porter.